So good evening. We welcome to Town Hall number 3. My name is Lieutenant Colonel Merger. A lot of you already know that. Also joining us is Miss Taylor Swift. Oh, sorry. No, Miss Taylor Swift is not joining us. Miss Taylor Cup is, however. And so we are going to talk to you today about move-in and new cadet check-in and all the really exciting things we have coming up. So we'll go ahead and get started. So I know a lot of you have seen this multiple times, but just to sometimes there's folks that need to catch up and need to understand where they are in the process. So things we need you to make a priority to be ready for arrival for New Cadet Week is we need you to have your financial aid bills paid or ready to go by the 10th, I believe, for August 10th. So we still have one more month of bills before they're due, but make sure that you're getting that taken care of. Make sure you have clothes to wear and you're scheduled for a uniform fitting. Most of you have already been fitted. However, we know we still have about 100 students that have either need to schedule it or need to get it done. So if you have not done that, please do that. You need to have a housing contract. You need to have your Hokie passport because that is going to be your transportation on campus, as well as your cell phone and access to the edgy room. You need to be medically ready for the core. So not just ROTC, but for the core. You need to have uploaded your insurance if you have one and be medically ready to be here. You need to be academically ready. So you need to have finished your class schedule and be finishing that up with your academic advisor. You need to get a haircut before you arrive. That's something we're going to focus on today because we really haven't talked about that so far. That is something you do at home before you arrive. So so we'll talk about that a little bit more. And then we'll talk about what you need to bring with you on check-in day on August 16th. But everything else we can work through, but we need these pieces in place before you get here. Okay. So let's talk about having clothes to wear. If you've not been fit for your uniforms, we need you to email us and set up a time. We have 2 alternate times. You can arrive early on the get fitted on the 14th or 15th. However, you can't move into the residence halls until the 16th. So you would need to get a hotel and stay in the area. And we can do some cleanup uniform fittings for those 2 days. So we still have a couple slots left for those that have not contacted us. If you're an international student or a domestic student arriving from abroad, we do have a few more spots left on check-in day, but we're starting to get filled up on check-in day. So if you are arriving from overseas, we have saved some spots for you on check-in day. So please reach out to us if you haven't already, and we'll get those scheduled. If you did get fitted for uniforms, they are going to be hanging in your closet when you get here. One thing I need students, though, that did not come for orientation, if you came for orientation, but you were unable to get it done, if you did not get your Hokie passport, if you can go and see the Hokie passport office before check-in, if you're arriving on the 14th or 15th. If you're arriving on the 16th only, you don't need to go to the Hokie passport office. They are going to come and be a part of our check-in process, and they're going to bring all of the cadet cards that they have ready to go with them to our check-in on the 16th. So if you go to the Hokie passport office, they won't be able to help you. But if on the 16th, we'll be able to do it during check-in. However, if you're arriving from abroad and you haven't done it yet, please get up to the Hokie passport office. That's going to save you quite a haul there and back on check-in day, so that way you have a little more time to move in and settle into your room, and you're not trying to deal with Hokie passport office. If you've not completed your housing contract, and we do have a couple people who fall into this category, you need to email us ASAP or call us as soon as possible. We are trying to do room assignments. Ms. Miller is working absolutely full-time on this, trying to get rooms settled. It can be a big deal if one person drops or one person doesn't have a housing contract, because it can cause an entire hallway to have to be adjusted if we lose one person to get the rooms back into balance. So it's really critical that in the next, by Friday, close of business, that we know everybody has a housing contract. So if you do not, you need to contact us as soon as possible. By the way, room assignments, like I said, Miss Miller is working on them very, very hard. What you should know about how they post. She works the whole situation, right? Like she's working on the entire core and getting everybody into rooms, both upper class and freshmen. And what will happen is they will get sent over in waves. And so she'll send a wave. And then, believe it or not, in our wonderful era of technology, housing has to manually input each and every one. So that is 1,300 people that they have to manually input. And so what ends up happening is it shows up onesie twosies, right? So as somebody hits enter over at housing, boom, it shows up in your account. So don't start looking before August 2nd. But once August 2nd comes in, know that if you don't see it and somebody you're talking to on social media does, don't freak out. This is a process, right? And it takes a couple days for everything to get posted. But you can go on to StarRez and you look under housing contract and then application summary. And there you'll be able to find your roommate as well as your room assignment. We will follow up with what we think is a very important missing piece of information from that housing contract page, which is your company assignment, which will tell you who your deputy commandant and senior enlisted advisor are based on which battalion you've been assigned to. And so remember, the battalions are assigned as first battalion is Alpha Bravo Charlie Delta A B C D, right? Second battalion is Echo E F G H, so Echo Foxtrot Golf and Hotel. And then 3rd Battalion is India Kilo. Let's see, HIJK. Well, I gotta say my alphabet. HIJKLM. So India Kilo Lima Mike. We skipped Juliet. And then 4th Battalion will be November Oscar and Band. So watch for those. That will, if you are needing, a lot of you have been contacting us about leaves that need to happen a little bit later in the semester. Obviously, we can't help you with that, but the deputy commandants can. And so that'll be really critical piece of information if you have some health concerns. I know some of you have been talking to us about that. Your deputy commandant would be a good person to engage with that as well. So be on the alert for the email that tells you your company assignment. It'll include your room and your unloading and parking pass. One thing I want you to know is that sometimes Miss Miller is a little bit ahead of me on what changes had to be made. So if you find a difference between what we email you and what you see in StarRez is the most accurate information. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and send these unloading passes because those are important for us to get out. If 1 or 2 people had to be moved and we didn't get that before we sent it, please always trust StarRez as the ultimate source. Okay, so when you go into the StarRez system, that's where you're going to have your main. All right. Well, I have no idea actually what Pearson 0245 is. That's something I have to figure out where they put all the companies and where the cutoffs are. So we won't be able to tell you until we have a chance to plot all that out and figure out who's in what company. I should have that by Monday. So like I said, don't be looking for it before the 2nd of August because that's when we'll have the actual finished product ready to go. Okay. I've been assigned temporarily as a 4th person in a 3-person room. When will my room assignment be permanently updated? I think that's a pretty common one. You might be put in 999 or as the 4th person in a 3-person room. It's probably maybe 100 of you in there. That's because that's how they have to put, that's when Miss Miller sends it over to housing. We're getting into the details here, but when she sends it over to housing, she sends them a list, they stuff it in one room, and then they manually reassign you to a different room. And that's just how the system works. So don't sweat that. But like I said, don't look for it before August 2nd as the earliest. Okay. Also for parking on August 16th, we're going to issue you a parking pass. So you're going to get an unloading pass that kind of gives you the company assignment that's really the one place where you're going to find the company assignment. We're going to put your room assignment. I'm going to tell you who your DEPCOM and senior enlisted advisors are. And that will tell you kind of where you need to go for unloading. okay? Because we're going to unload in two different locations based on which battalion you're in. If you're in 4th Battalion, you're going to be unloading in a different place than 1st, 2nd, and 3rd Battalion are unloading, right? So that unloading pass is just an email where you'll be able to print out, it'll look like a pass. You print that out and you're going to put that on the right side of your dashboard when you approach, okay? Um, so when you it might need to be for 4th Battalion, it'll need to be on the left side, but don't sweat it. So when you come in, a cadet will check you in as arriving and check that this is the time that we have for you to be here. I will also be putting on those unloading passes your assigned time of arrival. Now, know that if you signed up for more than one, or you didn't spell your name properly, or you did something else, I will reassign you a new arrival time based on what's available. So know that it may not totally match up if you made a mistake with how you entered it in the survey. So don't get too upset about it. Just go with the flow and show up at your arrival time that shows up on the unloading pass, because that is our time that we are expecting to see you. And so when you drive up, they'll be able to check you in. They'll say, okay, yes, you were supposed to be here at 7:30. Roger that, check. And they will point you to where you can go and unload. Now we will have Alumni Mall set up as angle in parking instead of front to rear parking, so that there's room for a lot more people. There'll be room in the Moss Art Center. If you saw that when you came in for orientation, you'll be able to park in there as well. And then for 4th Battalion, we're going to put you behind behind the Moss Art Center, and we'll have you park in a parking lot behind there. So when you come in, they'll check you in, you go in, you unload. Cadets, new cadets and parents and family, you get to unload. Okay, so take everything out of the car and place it, and family and students stay with your family and help with that, right? Then what I need you to do as new cadets, I need you to get some items we're going to talk about here in a second. And I want you to come to the core leadership and military science building. There's going to be arrows on the sidewalk. There's going to be cadre to point you in the right direction. And it is the same building that we did orientation in. So you're going to come right in that front door, right by the flagpoles, and you're going to come in and we will do new cadet check-in. Your family, meanwhile, is going to take the gear, go park the car. So once you depart, you leave your stuff on the sidewalk, which, by the way, usually, for several years, we never had rain during move-in. Unfortunately, last year, of course, it started to rain. So I just want to remind you that come ready for rain. You might want to bring a tarp to put over your gear when you walk off. So when you have to go move the car to the north end parking garage, you don't have to, you can leave it covered so it doesn't get wet. And also, you might want to bring a raincoat or something if you're out in the rain. So, your families will then, once they've parked, they'll come back to that spot and help move that gear up to your room, right? Despite what might have been said, you are allowed to unpack. You just need to tell your student where you put it. Okay. They need to know where things are. So make sure you brief them. Hey, this is where I put this, because later we will have they'll be asked to get into uniform and they'll need to find things quickly. And it's very frustrating for them if they don't know where things are. So make sure you tell them where you're putting things. And then once families, when you go to the parking garage after you've done your unloading and you're going to park, right there at the entrance to the north end parking garage, cadets will be there with a actual parking pass, and that will pay for you to be that'll pay the $8. That's our way of tracking how much we owe parking services so that we can pay them the $8 for you to park in the north end parking garage. And there should be no issues in terms of for you should be able to get in and out. Now, at the end, we all depart at the same time. So know that sometimes that does mean it's a little slow getting out of the north end parking garage, but you can park there all day. All right, things that I need you to bring with you. I need you to bring your Hokie passports. Can't explain enough how important that is going to be to your life here in college. So you need to have your Hokie passport. Also, because you can vote with your Hokie passport, okay? It counts as an official ID. Virginia counts it as an official ID. So we actually have to verify it. In order to do that, for that to kind of activate your Hokie passport, you will need to have your Hokie passport. And if it was mailed to you, you bring that with you. If it was not mailed to you, like I said, a certain portion of those Hokie passport is going to bring over here to have for check-in. And then you have to have, a second ID. So you either need to have a state issued driver's license, um, an international passport or US issued passport counts, of course, and or, a dependent ID card. Or if you have a regular US military ID, you can use that as well, okay? But you have to have one of those, and they have to be current and accurate when you bring them, okay? So that is for the core and slash the university, so we can activate your Hokie passports. We have to verify it. So you need to bring your Hokie passport and one of those IDs listed below. If you don't have your Hokie passport, bring one of the items, maybe two of the items from below, just in case there's any issues. This is very important. Don't leave the car. Don't let the car go off to the parking garage until you have this with you. One thing I recommended, I've seen cadets do, and I thought this was a really good idea, is if you have paperwork that you have to bring with you, for ROTCs, and sometimes there's some original documents, right? Like the original birth certificate or the original social security card, things that they need to see. Especially if we happen to get rain, I think a really good idea is one of those plastic folders that you can get that have the hook on them, that, the little string that you can wrap around and secure it, and then keep everything in there. So it's a secured, it's not like an open folder sometimes is a problem. Like some people will bring it in a regular, school folder, but things can fall out. And those are pretty important pieces of paper. So I think if you have the opportunity, bring it in one of those plastic folders. That you could put everything in and then secure the top so nothing can fall out. And that's where you should put that driver's license if you don't already have it on your phone or other places, your passport or your military ID, as well as any original paperwork you need for ROTC. So that way nothing gets lost while you're coming in. I think that's a really good idea. We need you to be medically ready to be here, and we are lagging on this, so we need your class to really jump up and take hold on this one, okay? I need you to upload your core physical, your medical history, your mental health form, and your insurance card as soon as possible to the Shifford Health Portal if you haven't already. All right. So please get those. Our doctor needs time to review them and to see what restrictions are out there. Now, just a reminder, there's no go, no go on the medical, okay, for the Corps of Cadets. For the Corps of Cadets, we are simply looking at what are the restrictions we need to abide by during New Cadet Week to keep you safe and healthy, okay? So the earlier you get that up, the better the more time our doctor has to kind of read through what's going on and tell us these are some restrictions that we need to observe, right? He may want to talk to you more during check-in, but we need to have that paperwork up so he can take a look at that. If you don't have an insurance card, that's okay. It's not a requirement. Okay. But the mental health form, the medical history, and the core physical are needed. So, on that note, I know some of you are finding some difficulty. One thing we're seeing a little bit more of this year than we have in the past is urgent care centers are refusing to sign the forms. If that is the case, please let us know. And two, we are working on an alternate option for you. So stand by for more information on that. But please let us know so we know how many students we're talking about so that we can get this fixed. Okay. Um, Also, we will be sending out a missing item survey where you get one more chance to tell me I don't have these things, right? So we can start tracking and helping you fix them. So fill out the missing item survey, and that is one place where you can tell us if there's been any change to your medical status since you last updated your physical. So if you uploaded your physical and something happened, this is how you tell us so that we can track that and be on top of it. Okay, watch for that on Canvas next week. All right. Obviously, coming to college, we need you to be academically ready to go. So if you don't have your college schedule, I need you to come with a printed copy of your college schedule to check in. So we need you to get this done. We're going to have a survey up. It'll be up on Canvas tomorrow where you can click and you can tell us any issues you're having with your academics. It also helps me tell what college you're in, what major you're in, so we know who we can start talking to see if we can help you resolve some of these issues. Okay. But please work this as much as you can because you're going to feel a lot better during New Cadet Week if you don't have to worry about how I didn't get my classes yet. Okay. But make sure you're signed up for two things as cadets. You need to be in management 1945. You should have one class time selected and a lab on Thursdays from 3:30 to 4:45. And we had a little hiccup with that earlier in the summer. That should all be corrected now. So you should see a Thursday lab on your calendar or on your class schedule for Thursdays from 3:30 to 4:45. And you pick one other class time that works with your schedule. You should also sign up for your track classes, whether that's Army, Navy, Air Force, or the Citizen Leader track. Again, use that core/ROTC class handout that we have on Canvas. That'll be a great place to go and get those courses if you're still having any troubles. I am talking to a lot of students that are very worried that, wow, I'm adding everything they're telling me to, and I'm at 19 hours or something crazy. Okay. What that means is we've got to offload something. Unfortunately, the ROTC classes and the core class, you cannot move to a different semester, obviously, right? So we need you to either take off English, test out of English, move English to a different semester. Maybe move another pathway, right? A lot of times you don't have time in this first semester to hit a pathway class. So you need to move it later in your plan, in your 4-year plan. So I don't think you should be signing up for more than 17 credit hours. Okay. Navy requires a minimum of 17 credit hours. So that's a good place to land. And I ran a kind of look at that, and one thing we were seeing was 17 does seem to be the peak of performance when I ran grades versus credit hours attempted. 17 was kind of the sweet spot. Okay. So 17, that just happens to be 17 because of engineering. Having a 2 credit class in there kind of throws it down to 17. If you're at 18, that's probably okay. You're going to be just fine. But don't get crazy on this. If you're trying to stuff everything they're telling you in, it may not work. So this is where you need to kind of go, okay, I need to see what I can move off. You really can't move off um any of your major classes and any of your prerequisites that you need to be taking or co-requisites you need to be taking. Those can't move. So really we're talking pathways. Okay. So if you need to move a pathway class off, um, this is what you're going to need to do to get those credit hours down to 17 credit hours or less. Okay. So 15, 16, 17 is about right. If we're dropping down to 12, we're probably not making enough progress towards our degree to get out of here in 4 years, to graduate in 4 years, not get out, but graduate in 4 years. Okay. So, don't be aiming quite that low. I would be aiming more for the 15 to 17 range or 18 if you need to. Okay, the haircut. The this is a big one, right? For this one really is when it becomes real, I guess, for everyone. We need all male cadets to show up with a zero haircut. So I don't know if you can tell in this picture in the background, but you can see there is no fitting on the razor that she has. Uh-oh, hold on. Hey, I'm in the middle of a session. I apologize. Okay. It's a recording session? Yes, it's okay. Can you come see me later? Okay. Um, can you come see me Monday or Friday? I really. Okay, you're welcome. Okay. So sorry, I thought maybe I wasn't broadcasting or something, but it was a new cadet looking to ask some questions. Okay. Well, anyways, males show up with a zero haircut. So there's no fitting on the razor. It's just the razor by itself. Um, they know what you mean if you tell a barber you need a zero. Okay. And this is kind of what it's going to look like. They're going to take it all off. So you have some options as to when you want to do this. One of the reasons we moved this to something you did at home was family members were always really wanting to be in on the pictures and getting to see this. It's also good maybe if you get it done a couple days early so that you can kind of get your head used to being out in the sun a little bit. I highly recommend sunscreen because that skin has not seen this kind of sun in a while. So you're going to want to make sure that you're putting some sunscreen on so that you don't burn the back of your head. Because there's nothing worse than trying to sleep with a sunburn on the back of your head, I've been told. So you don't want to do that. So you may want to cut it a couple days early. Some of you are going to hang on to the last second. That's absolutely okay as well. But you do have to show up for move-in, as in as soon as you turn onto Turner Street, we need you to show up with a zero haircut. It's not something you can do after you've moved in or checked in. Okay, it's something you have to show up with is a zero haircut. Female cadets, if your hair already extends below the bottom of your collar, you can wear it in a ponytail. It cannot extend beyond an imaginary line drawn between the bottom of your shoulder blades. Okay, so if you've got long hair, that's fine, but what you have to do is get it trimmed so that it doesn't go below the bottom of your shoulder blades. In fact, if I were to recommend anything to make life a little bit easier, trying to find somebody to do your hair takes a little bit of time, right? I don't know about you, but I have some trust issues sometimes with people cutting my hair, and I just don't want anybody to do it. And so that may take you a little while to find a salon here that you like. So I think you should buy yourself a little bit of time and go about an inch higher above your shoulder blades so that as it gives you a little time to find somebody you like who can do your hair. And then you're not out of regulation. Instead of being told, first week, hey, you got to go get a haircut. Now you've got to figure all that out, right? So show up maybe a little bit shorter than below, but the regulation is it cannot extend beyond the bottom of your shoulder blades if there was an imaginary line drawn there. If your hair isn't quite long enough to go in a ponytail, right, like it's a little too short on the sides, it doesn't fit all the way back. In that case, you probably want to go where your hair does not touch the bottom of your collar. Okay, so when you first come as a new cadet, your hair cannot touch the bottom of your collar. So you need to have it cut so that it is so it's high enough off the back of it doesn't extend below the bottom of a collared shirt. Okay, so think about the hokey bag shirt that you might see a lot of people wearing. Just a regular collared shirt. That's what we're talking about. Not really the button-up white shirts everybody wears with a suit, but more like a polo in the bottom of that collar. That's really what we're talking about here. You need to show up in the proper uniform, and we made one change from last year, and it seems to be throwing people a little bit. So if you're using the new cadet guide from this year, you know that you need to show up in khaki pants with or khaki trousers with a black belt. Okay, so I'm going to reiterate that one more time. Khaki trousers with a black belt is what you need to show up in. You have to have a plain white crew neck t-shirt. So on our shopping list, on our packing list, we said we told you a certain number of V-neck t-shirts because that's what you're going to wear under your white shirt uniform. However, I've been informed by the senior enlisted advisors that that's not proper to wear out as just a regular shirt. So in order to wear a shirt all by itself, it needs to be crew neck. So it needs to be a crew neck t-shirt. It doesn't have the V. White athletic socks and your tennis or running shoes, however you want to say that. Make sure you wear your belt and your shirt is tucked in. You need to be clean shaven and all piercings need to be removed prior to arrival. Okay, so don't show up with any piercings. Make sure you've shaved before you've shown up so that you're ready to go for check-in. Um, what do you need to bring to check-in? So here's a concise list of what I think you need. You need a copy of your academic schedule. We're going to walk around and have everybody go find their classes. So we want to make sure you have a copy of your academic schedule. You won't have access to a printer or your computer at this point. So we need that pre-printed. Your Hokey passport, of course. Excuse me. Your additional ID, so that state issued driver's license or a passport or a dependent or active duty military card or reserve or guard, your military ID if you have one. Okay, your cell phone, you should show up with it fully charged. Here's the trick. Um, I think we're still working through this, but the plan is to allow you to check your email once a day for about 15 minutes to make sure any business hasn't happened. Your college hasn't reached out to you, your major hasn't reached out to you, financial aid, the bursar, whoever it is that might be reaching out to you. We're going to have you check that. I don't think we're going to have the opportunity to plug in everyone's phones in one place. So what's going to happen is you're going to check for 15 minutes, turn your phone off, put it back in. We have a little brown bag that you will note with your name, and then it gets sealed back up and it goes back. Okay, it's probably not going to get charged. So we need it to show up fully charged and you get a check-in so it can last the whole week and you have the opportunity to check your emails for business things that might be happening. So make sure you show up with a fully charged cell phone. You need to bring any missing core or ROTC paperwork and any original IDs that ROTCs need to see, and they will have told you that if they need to see those. So move in, place that unloading pass in the window, arrive at your arrival time. So if it says 7:30, that means 7:30, right? That's where we're looking for. We have 60 people moving in per half hour. We're going to have people called CTAs. These are sophomores who've come back to help with moving and everything else. They can help you with a lot of things, but there's only so many of them, and 60 is about the max we can handle of families arriving per half hour. So only 60 people can arrive per half hour. That's why we have these half-hour arrival times. So you're going to check in with your cadre. That's going to be the cadet who's standing right on the right-hand side there as you pull in onto either Alumni Mall or onto Turner Street. You're going to see cadets in white shirt. Well, they'll be wearing a white shirt, blue-gray trousers. Probably saw it at orientation, a cadet in one of those. They're going to be standing there. They're going, and they'll have a clipboard, and they will have your time, and they will check that you've arrived. And then they will point you to where you need to unload. So they're going to be filling those spots as best they can. Both the new cadet and the family get to unload the vehicle, and then family, um, man, I'm so sorry. I do not know what's going on today. Um, and then the family will go park the car and make sure you have all of your paperwork before they depart. To go park the car, make sure you have that. I think that plastic folder with everything in it is a good idea. Okay, make sure you have that in your hand before you come to the Core and Leadership Military Science Building, which is where we were for orientation. There'll be tape on the ground, cadets pointing you where you need to go so you can get up to us. And then families are going to go park the car. They get that parking pass that counts for the parking garage at the entrance to North End Center. You park in North End Center and you can be there all day. Um, and then you actually can go in and out if you absolutely have to. Just make sure you talk to the parking folks at the door about why you're there, and you should have your parking pass. And then students, okay, you don't proceed to Torgerson Hall, my fault there. You're going to come to the Core Leadership and Military Science Building. All right, so you might recognize this slide from Captain McGrath's presentation this summer. If you came for orientation, if you come in on US 460 and you take the Price's Fork exit, you go all the way down. You're going to end up at a roundabout, go around the roundabout and come out to the right onto Main Street. And you're going to come down Main Street and you have two choices. If you're in 4th Battalion, so November, Oscar, and Band, you're going to turn in at this light at Turner Street, where this first yellow arrow is, and then you're going to park in this parking lot that actually exists behind the Moss Arts Parking Center. And this is nice because this is relatively flat approach. This has since been put into grass. This is marked off for construction, but you will be able to either come down the road and come down this back road get to Upper Quad Hall North. Oops, over here in the corner. So we have Upper Quad North here in the corner. Or you will be able to go up on the sidewalk and come in front and then turn down into Upper Quad North here. So you'll be able to approach Upper Quad North, this rounded building, which is to the left of the Core Leadership and Military Science Building. So if you're in 4th Battalion, you'll approach here, you'll talk to that cadet, they'll put you into this unloading area. Once you're done unloading, you just head down here and turn into the North End parking garage, and this is the entrance right here. Otherwise, you move the gear, which we hopefully will have lots of those super cool bins that you can then move in here. But please don't wait for them. Maybe you want to bring a dolly so you don't have to wait for a bin. If you are 1st, 2nd, or 3rd Battalion, so Alpha through Hotel, let's see, no, Mike, Alpha through Mike, you're going to move in, you're going to go down to the 2nd light here, which is the Main Street and Alumni Mall light. And this road is actually divided into 2 sides, and you're going to come down the right-hand side. A cadet will check you in right here at the beginning and point you either into the Moss Arts parking area or along Alumni Mall. Now, I wanted one thing. So this is if you're moving into Pearson Hall East or Pearson Hall West. Okay. So if you live in these 2 buildings, you're going to be parking down here. All right. So that being said, I just want to point out a couple things. There are stairs right here, here, and here, which means that if you have one of those rolly bins, you really need to roll it up if you want to roll it all the way up, you can go here. Otherwise, you have to lift it up this, which isn't cool. So you could roll it up here, or if you're coming from the Moss Art Center, this is all flat with no stairs as well. Okay, so you can come this way to approach Pearson Hall West, or this way to approach Pearson Hall East. Okay. And you might remember Lane Hall with the green roof. That's here. There's that VT, and there's our flagpole and our monument. So this is the approach that you will use, and we'll have, hopefully the elevators will all be up and running and everything will be good to go. Two of those bins that you can put all your gear into fit into an elevator. So we should have, it goes pretty smoothly, and we usually don't have too many issues. And then we'll be parking, like I said, nose in instead of back to back on this road to allow more people to park along here. And we have 60 people approaching per half hour. Okay, afterwards, if you're here on Alumni Mall, you can you're going to be on the right-hand side. So you come down, there's a crossover here right by the bridge that crosses over between Torgerson Hall and Newman Library. So you can cross over here and head back out. At the light, make a left. At Turner Place, make a left, and then you'll come down and turn into the north end parking garage. So you can park here. If you are already on the Moss Art Center, you just come down the road and park in the parking garage. And the approach is, if you remember from orientation, probably is right here. So North End Center is here. The parking garage has this glass structure, and the entrance is right here. And we'll have cadets there with the parking passes. Is there a parking lot for trucks that cannot fit into the parking garage? Yes. However, you might want to try, for this day, you might try wow, I'm starting to run out of ideas here. I would say try at the Perry Street area, see if there's some outdoor parking at the Perry Street parking area. Down at the So look for Perry Street when you are looking to find a parking area. You can always park over by the duck pond. The duck pond is usually where we put the buses when buses come to stay with us. So if it's a really big one, if we're talking class A, mobile home or something, the duck pond's probably the best bet. If it's just a slightly oversized truck, like pickup truck, those actually, believe it or not, do fit in the parking garage. You can just go up a little higher if you want to be around fewer people. But also you can try, like I said, the Perry Street parking garage, I think has some, or parking area has some outdoor parking by Stanger Street and a couple others that you might be able to park in. You would have to get a guest, but there you have to go get your own guest pass from parking services to be able to park there, because ours only covers the parking garage. So visit parking. In fact, that might be the best advice. Visit parking services that morning, and they can point you to where you can park and give you, and you can, I think that's $6 a day for a pass, and they should be able to help you out. So move-ins, families, once you return to Upper Quad, you finish moving in, your cadet will join you in approximately an hour. If they needed to be fitted for uniforms, it'll take a little bit longer. And then just make sure you tell them where you put their stuff, because they are going to be sweating that a little bit in about an hour or two. So make sure that they know where that is. You are free. You don't have to hang out in the room. Some of these are triples. There's seating for 6. Sometimes families have more than that. You don't have to stay in the room. If our situation, our programming really starts at 1 o'clock. So if you want to run errands to the VT bookstore to get the cadet box, I'll have the VT bookstore will also be on the stoop of Lane Hall. So that green roofed building underneath the stoop, I will have the VT bookstore will be there. They will have extra cadet boxes. They will have all kinds of little stuff that maybe if you didn't do the cadet box, but you're missing this one item, shirt stays or hat plastic, she's going to have all of that there for sale. So you could visit them on the stoop of Lane. And like I said, they will have already moved a lot of the cadet items up there. But if you're looking for t-shirts and things like that, you can head down to the bookstore. And of course, you go to Walmart, Target, wherever you need to go for your errands. But no later than 1 p.m. Please say your see you later. So I don't want to say goodbye, but see you later, right? This is 1 week. You're really just saying goodbye or you're just saying, we'll see you later, not forever, right? So this is your see you later. For New Cadet Week, you need to make sure you've said those no later than 1 p.m. And then you're going to proceed to the Commandant's brief no later than 1:30. Students, you're going to be escorted out by your cadre to your first brief at 1 o'clock. No, no one's received the parking pass already. We won't have those available until after August 2nd. Okay. And then after you attend the commandant's brief, you will attend your deputy commandant's brief. And that's a really important one. I really want to emphasize how important that is. That is your adult supervision, parents, if your families, if you're wanting to connect, you've got some kind of outside the norm thing your cadet needs. Those are your points of contact. Okay, so go hear what their philosophies are about leadership, their philosophies about how they communicate with families and what they think you guys should how you should be doing that. I think this if there's one thing I think is really worthwhile for New Cadet Movement is your time with that deputy commandant and understanding how they handle things because they are the ones you're going to be working with. Hopefully not too much. Hopefully it's mostly your cadet, but in those moments, if there's an emergency or something else, they're going to tell you how they want to be communicated with. And a lot of them will give you their personal cell phone. So I don't hand that out myself, I don't hand out their cell phones, but they usually will opt to during that brief, and that's the one place where you can find it. So please attend the deputy commandant's brief. I think those are very important. So from the new cadet guide, you can see our schedule. We're moving in. You want to get your lunch. I know a lot of cadets aren't that hungry, but you probably should get something to eat just so you have some energy because we are starting a pretty busy week. So you're gonna want to get something to eat. Families, you can bring lunch back to their room for them. So if you're at that very late end of 11 o'clock arrivals, you almost have to, I think, in order for them to get something to eat by the time they get back to the room before we get started. So, new cadets at 1 o'clock, your cadre are going to come get you to take you to the new cadet welcome brief, and they're going to come get you at 1 o'clock. So you need to be like, when we say 1 o'clock from here on in, we mean 1 o'clock, and really we mean 15 minutes prior, you need to be ready to go. Okay, so just start getting used to that. And then, so you're going to get escorted to the new cadet welcome brief. And then, families, you have a little more time to just finish anything you needed and be out to be at to be ready for the commandant's address. So the commandant brief will start at 2. So you have half an hour from 1:30 to get to the commandant's brief. It'll be over at Burris Hall, which is on the level with us. So that's really nice. You're not going up and down hills. I don't know if anyone's coming with someone who's in a wheelchair, but it is on the level. You don't have to go up or down any hills to make that move over to Burris Hall. But you should plan for about 15 minutes to make that transit over to Burris Hall. And that's where the Commandant and ROTC professors will address families. Students, you're going to go to the welcome brief and training's going to start. Um, Families, after the commandant's brief at Burris Hall, we're going to break out. Some get to, looks like people are going to McBride 100, again, on the same level, just coming back towards Upper Quad is where you're going to find McBride. Others, we're going to be heading down to Squires, the student center. So that one is a little bit downhill, so it's not too bad. The Commonwealth Ballroom is also in Squires, and then we will be using even a little bit further downhill the Graduate Life Center auditorium. So for the most part, it's even going across and coming down to these, which means it's going to be up coming back to Upper Quad. But once the deputy commandants are done, um, the cadets are going to come back here for formal retreat, and then families, we're going to head back up the hill to the VT in front of Lane Hall for formal retreat. And one thing we will do is we will be posting the order of companies and where you can find Alpha Bravo Charlie Delta Exo. Everybody, we'll tell you how they're going to be organized. Um, and then formal retreat. Formal retreat is when we have a bugler come out. We usually have the cannon. We play the national anthem. We raise the flag, and then the new cadets will march off to dinner. And families, you're free to leave at that point. Which means most people are going to be heading to the North and Center parking garage. So be aware that will be a busy time over at the parking garage. So if you have other things you want to do, maybe dinner or something, and then pull out of the parking garage, you may want to do that just because that gets kind of busy. All right, we will have pictures up during New Cadet Week. We have cadet staff that take a ton of pictures. Plan is to get a picture of just about everybody if we can. Um, be patient. Sometimes it takes us a while to get through all of the new cadets, but we will be taking them of every company. And if you haven't seen your cadet, you can always ask us. And we will get you a picture. But they're not going to be talking to you over the phone or via email or text or any of that during New Cadet Week, but we will have these pictures posted on the Facebook page, and you don't have to join Facebook to see these. They're publicly available. And we'll have some pictures up on Instagram as well. So New Cadet Weekends, we're 1 week later. We're on Saturday, August, let me get my dates right. It's August 24th. So it's Saturday, August 24th. We are going to have the new cadet parade at 10 a.m. So once students finish the parade, so 10 a.m. you can park. Parking is always, this is a different day, right? We're here a week early for New Cadet Week and check-in. And so life on campus isn't too bad. Restaurants aren't all that full. Things are actually pretty smooth. Difference of this day is when we get to that Saturday before classes, everybody's here, families are here, the restaurants are gonna fill up, they're gonna be very full. The service is gonna be slow, so please be patient with them. Just know that things slow down a lot and that it gets a lot more crowded around here. So once they finish the new cadet parade, and you could park in the North End Center, but this one you would pay for. You can park in the Perry Street parking garage. Again, I think that's a paid for situation. You can look for other guest places on campus to park for that weekend, for that day. Um, so maybe if you need to, you don't have to stop by parking services that day for parking, but know that you're just going to have to find some parking. Um, I recommend the North End Center just because that's nice. You know where it is. It's a little bit away from everybody else. And we usually don't have to compete quite as much for parking in there. But after the parade ends, your student, your new cadet is going to go back to their room, and they're going to put their rifle away. They're going to change their clothes, and they're going to get their laundry, and they're going to be told what the rules are for the weekend so that they're ready to go. They are due back to us at 4 p.m. on Sunday. So let me reiterate, 4 p.m. on Sunday, they need to be in their room. So this isn't like I showed up on Upper Quad at 4 p.m. It needs to be I showed up in Upper Quad and I'm in my room by 4 p.m. Do you have to go during this weekend? Absolutely not. Okay. But everybody needs to be back and ready to go at 4 p.m. We take a picture of Virginia Tech does a big VT out at the football stadium of the incoming class, and we usually get to form the outside outline. So the cadets are usually the outline. It's a big deal. It's a lot of fun to do for the cadets. It's getting to go in the stadium if they haven't been in there before. And but we've got to get ready and get them over there so that we can get that done. And so that's why we need them back by 4 p.m. on Sunday. Um, and then, families, you can't go up to unlike move-in where you're allowed to go up into the residence halls during, after the parade, you're not, students are changing, all that kind of stuff. So we just ask all visitors to stay outside of the buildings. However, your student will be getting their cell phone back. So at that point, that's how you guys can connect. You can talk via text, figure out where you're at, and make that connection. You all can also wait outside Pearson East, Pearson West, and Upper Quad North too, because that's where they're going to come out. And then they can depart with you until 4 p.m. on Sunday. So that is overnight if you want to keep them. Um, but new cadets live here now. So if you're a new cadet and you're like, I don't have anywhere to go, my family's not coming back. That was my situation in college. I totally understand. You can stay in your room. We will have a 10 p.m. Curfew that you have to be back for each evening. So you have to be back in the residence halls and accounted for by 10 p.m. each evening, that Saturday night. But you are free to stay in the residence halls and run errands as you need to around town, etc. Your uniform is Hokey Bag. That's a maroon polo with khaki trousers anytime you're out in public. I always get these, sometimes my family and I are out doing something on that Saturday, and I'll see a new cadet that I know is a new cadet because I recognize the haircut, right? And they always are really sheepish because they're in civilian clothes. Like, just get used to the idea that you're gonna wear a uniform when you're out and about, and wear your hokey bag. So wear and they'll tell you what that is and explain how it works. Now, if you're inside your hotel and you're going down to the pool, civilian clothes is absolutely okay, right? But if you are, outside your hotel, out in public, you need to be in your hokey bag. Hokey bag is a maroon polo. Your cadet was told to bring khaki trousers. Those khaki trousers are something they have to bring with them. The hokey bag shirt is something we issue. And then the shoes, you'll be wearing your leather shoes. Again, I hope you wore them in. You'll be wearing your leather shoes at this point when you go out. Okay. All right. So I know that they were talking about, oh, you cannot leave a 50-mile radius, and you cannot be outside a hokey bag. So you have to be in a hokey bag and you cannot leave the 50-mile radius around campus during that Saturday to Sunday. So you must stay within 50 miles. This is past. It is so it's within 50 miles of campus, and you have to be in a hokey bag. Okay. So yep. Let's not try to break the rules right away. Like, let's get into the habit of like, we're gonna comply here. Okay. It's a good way to start. So make sure you're wearing your uniform, your hokey bag when you're out in public. Um, and you're gonna be within 50 miles of campus. So there's a list of closed weekends in the important dates in the new Connect guide. I highly recommend that you put that up on the refrigerator. I think it's got all our stuff. It's got the addresses. It's got our closed weekends and our schedule. Our sophomore parents are always asking for it. So that's how important it is. They know that this is a really important piece of paper. So I recommend you put it up on it's the last page of the new Connect guide. Put that up on your refrigerator. Um, Lots of families are asking about when you can come home. The commandant obviously talked about Thanksgiving break, as did Captain McGrath. But I will mention that fall break is, while it's listed as only Friday, you can put in a request for a 3-day weekend to go home that weekend. So you don't, fall break is probably the first time you would probably come home on a normal schedule through here. So I would plan on that, not just Thanksgiving, but maybe fall break if you can, or if you're from out of state and that's a bit much, go with one of your buds. Have one, go home with one of your buds for that weekend. All right, so some items to have, information to put on your refrigerator. I'll be posting these slides up on Canvas. And once we are recording this, so once we get the recording done, I will put that up on Canvas as well. And I will try to email this out to the parent list that I have. My apologies, I have to use the emails that were put into the when they applied to Virginia Tech. That's the only parent emails I have. So if it's wrong or you or whatever the issues are, feel free to tell me. I will be happy to get that corrected. And then, but know that that's who we're sending it to. We're sending it to the list of the family members listed on the application to Virginia Tech. We will have a family guide. There'll be a paper version in your new cadet room, and it will be posted here shortly on our website. We have the new cadet guide and packing list. So if you haven't already, make sure you're doing that. Add the core calendar to your calendar. You can do that from our website. And you can access the calendar in different ways. And so remember, it's just the core calendar, so it's not it doesn't include ROTC items, but those have been deconflicted. So what you see for the core will be your schedule for the core, and then you can add what you get from our OTCs. Okay. So we look forward to welcoming you to the core family on Friday, August 16th. You guys haven't had a lot of questions that I've seen, so that doesn't mean they weren't being asked by Miss and answered by Miss Cup, but are there any questions that you guys have that you would like us to answer for you? Okay. Well, if that's the case, I hope you have a great evening, and we are looking forward to welcoming the class of VTCC 2028 to campus on August 16th. All right. Have a great evening.